Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unpontificated. Today, I'm just going to talk about Bill C-9. We're going to look at a parliamentary speech given by an MP, a Conservative MP in Parliament. I think it kind of highlights very well what Bill C-9 and what many of us are concerned about. First, let's just take a quick look at where this bill is. So as you can see here, this bill had first reading on February 19th, 25. It has really moved really fast. I mean, second reading completed October 1, and then March 13th came back into Parliament and moved very quickly for its third reading, and it's now already completed. I mean, completed the third reading on Wednesday, March 25. The first reading in the Senate was completed on Thursday, March 26. Wow, that's quite quick that they're really moving this thing through really fast. Let's take a listen to Larry Brock here on Bill C-9. I think we won't listen to all of it, but just up to where I think is quite important.
To the great residents of my riding. I rise today to speak yet once again on Bill C-9, a bill that has many Canadians across all faith communities deeply concerned, and for good reason, Mr. Speaker. The bill was originally presented as a measure to protect places of worship, something every member of this House should support. Conservatives certainly do. But that is not the bill that is before us today. Because in the middle of the legislative process, the Liberal government made a deliberate political decision to fundamentally change its own legislation. At the last minute, they supported an amendment to remove a long-standing religious defense from the criminal code, a defense, I might add, that has been in the code for over 50 years. They did so, regrettably, and shamelessly, without consulting faith communities directly impacted. They did so without hearing from civil liberty experts. They did so without calling one witness. And they did so without allowing Parliament the time to fully study the consequences of such a significant legal change. When those concerns were raised by religious leaders, by legal experts, and by members of this House, the government did not pause. They did not engage. Instead, they chose to shut down debate and force the bill through. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, we're here today. And what makes this even more striking is that the very defense they are now trying to remove was originally put in place by their own party under Pierre Trudeau as part of a careful and deliberate balance in Canadian law. This
is an aside. They got the bill through with the help of the Bloc Québécois, a party that wants to break up Canada. That's, I think, quite telling.
Defense was originally introduced in 1970 under the Trudeau Liberal government as part of their Bill C-3. That bill created Canada's modern hate propaganda provisions. At that time, Parliament deliberately included several statutory defences, including truth, good faith religious expression based on religious text, public interest, and lack of intent. These protections ensured that good faith religious discussion and theological debate would never be criminalized while still addressing hate propaganda. This defense was part of the original legislative balance when Canada created its very own hate speech laws. Removing it would be a profound shift in Canadian criminal law, one that threatens to upset the careful balance between protecting Canadians from harm and protecting their fundamental freedoms. Now, Parliament has occasionally, Mr. Speaker, removed or narrowed statutory defences, but these changes occur rarely and only with serious scrutiny. For example, in 1983, the Trudeau government removed a marital exemption that had prevented husbands from being charged with rape, a good move. In 1995, Parliament restricted the extreme intoxication defence following the Supreme Court's decision in Regina v. Davio, another good move. In 2015, the Harper government narrowed the provocation defence to prevent misuse in honour-killing cases, a change much needed. Changes to statutory defences are major legal decisions that occur infrequently, but only after careful, serious debate. Yet this Liberal government now wants to rush through the removal of a 50-year-old defence while simultaneously shutting down all debate. The removal of the religious defence occurred without meaningful stakeholder consultation. Religious communities across all faiths and backgrounds have raised concerns. Civil liberty organizations have raised concerns. Canadians did not ask for this amendment. Faith communities did not request this change. This was solely a political decision by this Liberal government, not a response to any demand from Canadians or stakeholders. This amendment was not driven by Canadians, not requested by faith communities, not the result of calls from civil liberty organizations. In fact, the opposite is true. We have heard directly from Canadians across this country, faith leaders, community organizations, civil liberty groups, who are deeply, deeply concerned about the direction this government is taking. Hundreds of organizations have spoken out against Bill C-9, most notably the removal of the religious defense. Over 350 Muslim community organizations have warned that Bill C-9, as currently drafted, presents serious harms to the civil liberties of all Canadian Muslims. They specifically pointed to the removal of the good faith religious defense and warned that it would send a chilling effect through religious communities. More than 500 churches and Christian organizations have called on Parliament to restore explicit protections for the good faith expression of sincerely held religious beliefs within the criminal code. In the Greater Toronto area, 44 rabbis issued an open letter to this government warning that removing this defense could expose faith leaders, educators, and religious individuals to potential criminal liability, simply for reading, teaching, or discussing passages from religious texts. This is not a narrow concern. This is not coming from one group or one perspective. We have been speaking to faith communities across this country, and there is a clear and broad consensus this defense must be maintained. And yet, despite all of this pushback, and I'm sure every member of this Liberal government and party have heard loud and clear the opposition in their own communities, this government has chosen to double down and not listen.
Yeah, it's a good speech. Recommend you guys all go on and listen to the rest of that. It's actually pretty good. But the main crux of the matter with Bill C-9, guys, one, we have laws in the books to combat hate speech already. There's no need to have another law. I've always said on my episodes that I want less government, not more, not more. I want less. And just putting in these extra pieces of legislation, which nobody wants. In fact, I haven't heard anyone speak highly of this Bill C-9. Maybe it's just what I've got on my algorithm coming through on YouTube or Facebook or anything that I watch or listen to. But I haven't heard anyone, any religious group, whether the Jewish people, Muslims, people who are combating Islamophobia, as they say, or anti-Semitism. I haven't heard them say that this is a great piece of legislation, especially that portion where they're denying people from expressing their deeply held religious beliefs based on scripture. They're denying people that defense. If someone is going to be prosecuted for saying something based on the religious text, they're going to say that's no longer a defense. You can't use that. And that's just terrible. Now, I'm somewhat of a free speech absolutist, right? If someone wants to have a symbol on their door, go ahead, have that symbol, because at least then I will know who you are. If you want to say something that's hateful, go ahead, because then I will know who you are. One of the best ways to know who someone is by hearing them out, is by allowing them to speak, allowing them to do whatever. And then we can know you're not free from the freedom of consequences of that speech, but you should be free from that speech, like no government overreach. That's just my view, and I don't think it's a particularly majority view, but I want to know who you are, so I don't want you to be muzzled for any reason. But in the case of Canadian law, um, we have this religious exemption allowed, and the other, excuse me. Um, so the legislation is now in the Senate. It's gone through first reading. The Senate is supposed to be I guess, the house of somber second thought. Is it somber second thought? Solemn second thought? Whatever it is, I hope these guys really take a look at that legislation and send it back to the House with some good, um, what's it, the red pen crossing and the request for changes that needs to be made in this legislation, particularly the religious exemption that needs to stay there for sure. Anyway, you guys, let me know what you think. What do you think about Bill C-9? Do you think this just too much ado about nothing? Really? I don't think so, but I'd be interested to hear what you say in the comments. Please like and subscribe so that it can really help me out in this channel, get this out to more people. Bill C-9, write your MP, give them a phone call, and let them know that you're not happy with Bill C-9. I'll see you next time.